All right, another day and a little more work done. Not a whole lot that you can see, but here it is. I've pulled up all the track. I've marked all the locations where I need to be able to have wires go down through and poked holes through. And so they all go through down to the bottom. And then on the other side, on the bottom side, let's turn this around here, I cut a series of boxes and trenches and for all the wires to go in. The idea being that this will keep it neat and protected underneath once the bottom plate gets put on, and keep everything out of the way. So Cato has a whole lot of parts for distributing power and everything. So I'm using a couple of them. I've got the cables all neatened up at the moment, but they'll sit in these areas. And like these two will then get connected together, and this one will run out the end here to connect to the power pack. And then the connectors that come in from the track, the power connectors that come in from the track itself will be fed. They have a connector on the bottom, and in some cases I've got special joiners that have these wires that have these easy to use Molex connectors on them, and they just snap in to these guys. So everything in the track power becomes kind of plug and play. The switches are also going to be powered, although that's not a primary goal. But I decided to control the switches, I'm going to use these touch toggle switch control systems made by a friend of mine down the road. And this is all very simple plug and play, just like the track. And I'm liking the simpler the better. So what you do, the way this works is you use these bases, and these bases are available for pretty much any kind of switch machine that you might have, twin coil or tortoise or servos, or in this case, this is for the special one for the Cato switches. Catos use a different control than many. It's basically a DC, just DC voltage. Everything in the Cato world runs on DC. So this is a pretty simple hookup. Basically, you have these touch, what they call touch toggles, and it's basically a capacitive sensor. And so they just plug in, and we'll use the one numbered 1 for now. That just plugs right in like that. You have to make sure the wire's going the right way. And then a wire goes out from that to the switch. And the fun part here is doing this with one hand while I hold the camera, but that's the way it's going to be. So it is important to try and make sure you get the polarity right here, just mostly for the convenience of having the thing point the way you want it to point. If it doesn't point the way you want it to point, you just reverse the wire with these. So that's pretty simple. That just plugs in there. I'm going to turn this over so you can see. To power the thing up, just plug in 12 volts. Once you get it powered up, the toggle comes on green, and the switch, you can see, is set for straight. So I've got it wired polarity the way I want it. And all I need to do now to change the switch is just tap that, and you can see it goes red, and the switch turns. So very simple system. Actually works quite well. And I've been using it. I have it installed with servos on the main layout, or the big layout, and eventually that should be populated throughout the entire railroad once we get a little further along on that. So anyway, that's how that works. Now what we're going to do with this, again, I've got all these trenches, and everything runs to runs out to where the switches are going to be. So I don't have enough power to it, so we're going to disconnect this for the moment. And so this is going to live in this opening here in the benchwork. The wires will run out to the switches and through the trenches that I've cut in the bottom. So they'll all come out and then take off in the various directions that they need to go to get to each switch, and then the buttons, or the toggles, will end up mounting here. And I have basically a piece of plastic that's ready to go for that. It's just going to be I'll cut the holes. They're 1-inch round holes will get cut across here. It'll get painted black and it'll get attached to the benchwork or to the foam, and that'll be all of the wiring. So the Kato materials for the track wiring and the touch toggle wiring for the switches, and that's going to be all of the wiring that's necessary for this. And so that'll be nice and simple. Over here, I'm going to make an area. This is where the cables were going to come out and connect to the Kato power pack. And I just decided for this project, I just want to use this simple power pack. It's got speed control, direction control on the back, power in, and this is the track output. Now, one thing that makes things interesting with Kato is most power packs have accessory outputs. The way Kato does it is they've got these two snaps, and you just plug in accessory controls. Now, they've got switch controllers and a whole variety of things. I've got on order one that will plug in here and give me an on-off switch. And it's designed to turn track on and off. I'm going to use it to supply 12-volt power to the touch toggle base. And that way everything will be nice. One wire to plug in to operate the layout. If I decide I want to do building lights later, I can simply get another one of those switch additions, stack it on the outside, and route those wires through. And then it's just the simple same simple Molex connectors that get used for the track to connect everything. And I just, like this one I've got coded from a previous project, it's the yellow one. So all I would do is just paint them once, so I make sure I get the right colors hooked up, and that's it. So the next step, which I'll probably get into a little later on today, is to slap a coat of brown paint on the top side, and at the same time, I'm going to stain the wooden base part that's built, and I'll marry those two together probably this evening. And tomorrow, put the track back on the layout, and we'll start getting into laying out buildings and scenery. So that's where we are for now, and we will catch up again in a couple days. See ya.